Eventful. Meaning with examples. Pronunciation. Eventful. Eventful. It is an adjective. Meaning. 1. If you describe an event or a period of time as eventful, you mean that a lot of interesting, exciting, or important things have happened during it. 2. Eventful things are exciting, important, or full of incidents. 3. Eventful things are exciting, important, or full of incidents. 4. Full of interesting, or important events. 5. Having an important outcome, momentous. Examples. 1. The period covered by the longitudinal survey turns out to have been very eventful. 2. After an eventful military career, he retired from the army in 1829 as lieutenant colonel. 3. Christina's life was considerably less eventful than those of her siblings. 4. The intervening period has been eventful, and it has certainly not been wasted. 5. The morning celebrations were only the start of an eventful day for Napier University. 6. The general's last 2 years were to prove highly eventful for him and the country. 7. On the afternoon of that eventful day, I stood on the porch, dumb, expectant. 8. Their first race was also quite eventful, with the crews clashing down the embankment. 9. The meeting with Dr. Maroka proved far less eventful than my journey there. 10. That day was a particularly eventful outbreak, spawning 23 tornadoes across the state. 11. The 6 years since Ms. Orden released Comfort of Strangers were eventful ones. 12. Nelson, who recently turned 80, looks back at a long and very eventful life. Eventual. Meaning with examples. Pronunciation. Eventual. Eventual. It is an adjective. Meaning. 1. The adjective eventual is used to describe something that is likely to happen in the indefinite future. 2. Happening at the end of a long period of time, or after a lot of other things have happened. 3. You use eventual to indicate that something happened or is the case at the end of a process or period of time. 4. Happening or existing at a later time or at the end, especially after a lot of effort, problems, etc. Examples. 1. It is impossible to predict the eventual outcome of the negotiations. 2. After such a great first half, we were deeply disappointed with the eventual result. 3. Yet the thought of this eventual demise provides no sense of victory, no solace. 4. The eventual design was a great improvement on the one we originally considered. 5. Any responsibility for eventual mistakes and omissions lies entirely with the author. 6. Many believe that war will be the eventual outcome of the tension in the country. 7. They are potential rivals, maybe eventual allies, in the Democratic primary. 8. It also secured the eventual triumph of constitutional independence. 9. Sadly for the defender, the proposed amendment did not alter the eventual outcome. 10. They still don't know what caused her cirrhosis and the eventual liver failure. 11. In the last 8, they lost out in a close 1-0 game to eventual finalist Germany. 12. The covenant concerned making the of several steps toward an eventual unification. Evocative. Meaning with examples. Pronunciation. Evocative. Evocative. It is an adjective. Meaning. 1. If you describe something as evocative, you mean that it is good, or interesting because it produces pleasant memories, ideas, emotions, and responses in people. 2. Making you remember, or imagine something pleasant. 3. People remember something by producing a feeling, or memory in them. 4. Tending to evoke a reaction or response, especially an emotional one. 5. Vivid and seemingly realistic, as in the artistic representation of a particular time, place, etc. Examples. 1. Attention alters neural responses, to evocative faces in behaviorally inhibited adolescents. 2. The evocative events are the proposed alternative, to the notion of cognitive unconsciousness. 3. In a parade of evocative superlatives, a regular full moon seems passé. 4. This new take highlights the song's evocative piano playing, from Chili Gonzalez. 5. The photographs are really evocative of what clubbing culture was like then. 6. It was one of the last of his evocative flights of homespun philosophy. 7. An aging leaf, suggested by random blobs, upon a shape evocative of a leaf. 8. The painting was evocative of all the sun, and bright colors of Provence. 9. Some representations of St. James the Greater are evocative of Sucellus. 10. The Lost Wolf Prince, dear me, there's a very evocative ring to it, don't you think? 11. Maybe it was, but like his music, I found his paintings evocative, endearing, and curious. 12. Nature's harvest yields an abundance of evocative scents to woo our senses. Excessive? Meaning with examples. Pronunciation. Excessive? Excessive? It is an adjective. Meaning. 1. If you describe the amount, or level of something as excessive, you disapprove of it because it is more, or higher than is necessary or reasonable. 2. Excessive means beyond what is typical or normal. When something is excessive, there's way too much. 3. Characterized by excess, being too much or too great, immoderate, inordinate. 4. Exceeding a normal, usual, reasonable, or proper limit. Examples. 1. The message of the campaign is that excessive drinking is a health risk. 2. They complained about excessive government intrusion into their legitimate activities. 3. For years, the organization was constrained by excessive bureaucracy. 4. Some property owners complained that they were being charged excessive fees. 5. The directive will prevent employees from working excessive hours. 6. Investing offshore is only worthwhile if the costs involved are not excessive. 7. They were quick, however, to use beads in more excessive and radical ways. 8. It was a reckless challenge with excessive force that endangered the player's safety. 9. As usual, the opposition claims the government is guilty of excessive spending. 10. Maybe it was the mercury in the tuna she ate, or the excessive amounts of chocolate. 11. The proceedings were characterized by excessive merriment and licentiousness. 12. That seemed excessive, to have them confined to short pickets for all that time. Exhaustive. Meaning with examples. Pronunciation. Exhaustive. Exhaustive. It is an adjective. Meaning. 1. If you describe a study, search, or list as exhaustive, you mean that it is very thorough and complete. 2. Exhaustive means performed comprehensively, and completely. 3. Extremely thorough, and complete. 4. Treating all parts, or aspects without omission, thorough. 5. Leaving nothing out, covering every possible detail, thorough. Examples. 1. This is not an exhaustive list, but it shows how many projects are taking place. 2. His last day at work was recorded in exhaustive detail, in another series of memos. 3. Naturally, we have an exhaustive range of drinks, but we'd love you to try these top tipples. 4. Here is a small sampling of species, which, of course, is far from being exhaustive. 5. The following is a list of some of its MasterCard offers, though this list is not exhaustive. 6. In spite of its name, the exhaustive ballot is not a single ballot but a series of ballots. 7. And he complains bitterly that exhaustive health tests were not done years ago. 8. An exhaustive investigation into better methods of financing young entrants is continuing. 9. Gaius claims no more than that. These 4 expressions are typical, his list is not exhaustive. 10. Let no man see that purse is content, claim it too exhaustive for any to comprehend. 11. The wine list at Flora Bar is about as exhaustive as any artist's career retrospective. 12. It's not as if these writers pretend to create an exhaustive, totalizing narrative. If you like the video, please hit the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for more videos. Meanings and examples are available in video description.